Conor O'Neill, Devils Illustrated for this because he watched Duke destroy Miami. That's really unfair. Shouldn't that be a like against the Geneva Convention, what they did to Miami last night?
Yeah, I feel like the powers that be that decided Duke and Miami would play twice this year. I want some bylaws written into the ACC where we get creative, and if we get to the end of January and have a matchup like this, we can re-engineer some things and let's get Clemson back up to Durham for that matchup. I think we're on a collision course for Charlotte to see that game anyway. But yeah, going into the season, you figure Miami is not going to be as bad as they are, but oh man, they're bad. and Duke is awesome.
Right. It's a terrible combination for that game. But and traditionally Miami has been the team that has given, outside of the norms, Miami's been the team that has given Duke, I think, the most problems, right? So when that schedule came out and we're only a couple of years removed from Miami being in the Final Four, I thought, all right, that's not bad. And then Miami turns out to be the train wreck that they are, which is why Jim Larrañaga quit. But I agree with you. I'd love some flexibility in the schedule. Maybe the ACC should do that. Should flat out do that.
I would be in favor of that. I would, it'll never happen this way, but I would be in favor of, getting to mid-December or Christmas and saying, okay, look, we know that these 3 or 4 ACC teams are going to drag down the league's reputation, and everybody that plays them, unless they win by 30 or 40, it's going to be a negative for the net. So just ship them to the AAC or the SoCon or wherever and let them be competitive and have a shot. They're not going to get a shot to win the automatic bid. So if they go to the SoCon, they at least have a shot to win the automatic bid. And then that solves some of your perception problems. It opens you up to have more home-and-home matchups within the ACC if you stick to a 20-game schedule, which I think TV has shown us that you never decrease the amount of games on a schedule. It only increases or stays the same. So, but, I think that's a little too radical. I think there are probably bigger fish to fry on the plate of Jim Phillips. So.
Well, yeah, Jim Phillips does have some other things. He actually had some comments yesterday that I appreciated, but it does sound Pollyannish. Now, first of all, for this program, Conor, there is nothing at all as being too out there. I am all about what you are describing is in-season relegation, and I'm not against it. I am not against it. If you had that arrangement, I don't know if the SoCon would like that, but if you had that arrangement, or maybe what we do is we have like an in-season kids table. It's not really relegation. So when we get to a certain point of the year, we determine the teams that can only do damage to the adults, and we let them just have a food fight amongst themselves, and we don't play them anymore. We just leave them alone.
Wouldn't that be more fun for Boston College and Miami? And I can't say NC State because I think I've seen them play their 2 best games of the season between Duke and Wake Forest. But yeah, God, the league needs to figure out something and some way to combat where its perception is, because I don't know if there's any quick fix other than hire better coaches and sink more money into basketball programs than football programs.
Conor O'Neill, Devils Illustrated, Deacons Illustrated. You decide. This is Devils Today at Conor O'Neill _DI. Real quick about last night, because it was an annihilation. Unfortunately, the injury to Tyrese Proctor. I have not gotten any word. I don't know that you have. Jon Scheyer talked about he got hit in the leg last night. It looked non-contact to me, but I wasn't there. And one thing I do know is that the perspective on television is not anything like being there. You can actually see a lot more contact when you're in person. I am curious, do we know anything? And what are your thoughts if Proctor is unavailable the rest of the way?
I I don't know anything official or unofficial or on or off. I don't know anything about Tyrese Proctor's injury other than what Jon said last night. I was a little surprised that he said he got hit on the leg, because I'm like you. Watching it live and watching it on, I think they showed 1 or 2 replays of it.
Yeah.
It looked like it just buckled as he was going backward. And I've seen some people out there saying it looked like a hyperextension. It looked like, somebody told me it looked like something else. It's just,
right.
I don't know. I think you can't read too much into Jon Scheyer saying they're going to get imaging, because they get imaging on anything and everything that is questionable.
Right.
So why would you not take a look at it when you can X-ray and MRI the thing and know everything available? But moving forward, I mean, look, I don't know if this team can win a national championship without Tyrese Proctor, but I do think, based on the way Isaiah Evans has played the last 3 games, their offense still has a lot of firepower with him out there. I mean, good Lord, he's that rare shooter that he only needs to see the first one go in, and he's hot. Like, it's not a he's warming up, he's on fire type of thing.
Right.
Like, the first one goes down, he is on fire, and he needs to be fed the ball, because he's probably making his next 2 or 3 shots. So he's gotten better defensively. That's why he's playing. I mean, he wasn't playing in the start of the season because Duke did not like where he was defensively. And he has come so far on that end of the floor that, and a couple of these games, he's been their first sub off the bench. And I think he slides into the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a problem with ball handling, because you have a point guard in Sion James. You have a point forward with Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
And they're comfortable putting the ball in Conca Nipple's hands as an initiator.
And Caleb Foster. And Foster's starting to play well again.
Caleb Foster comes off the bench.
Yeah.
Caleb, it looked like he was moving at a slower pace than the starters last night when he was in there in the second half with them. I think that's something they need to get him up to speed with. And that's kind of forgivable and understandable, because the last 3 or 4 games he's come in with about 6 minutes on the clock and Duke has a 30-point lead. So it's going to be a little bit of an uphill challenge to get him sped up, but I think they can do it. But look, I mean, ideally, we hear something in the next few days about a bruise or a sprain or some sort of non-season-ending injury to Tyrese, and I don't even want to speculate on a timeline. But ideally, obviously, he's back for the games that really matter coming up next month.
Yeah, I said the same thing about Malik Brown. If Malik Brown can get back, Malik Brown, to me, only needs to come back for the second week of the NCAA tournament. Maybe you get him for the second game, the weekend game of the opening weekend. But if Malik Brown is back and ready to go for that, I think Duke's in very good shape. So that he is another key member. But I've already talked about it. I think. Not that you want to lose Tyrese Proctor, because he's the best of the version of whatever that player is for Duke. But they've got cover. Evans, Foster, Knippel, Sion James. I know how to pronounce his name. I keep screwing it up. But they've got players to cover that spot, although Proctor is the best of them. Conor O'Neill, at Conor O'Neill _DI. You and I are going to get together and flesh out this in-season relegation deal. I like it.
Let's do it.
I like it. All right, sir. Thank you for your time. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Adam.